All right, all right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and whatever else might be lurking out there in the darkness. This is the Pink Buzz. We are back again. I am your host, the one and only Groucho. Guess that phrase, you get $100, or the duck will give you $100. Actually, maybe Goose will give you $100. Goose, you got $100 to give people if they guess the right phrase. Did going all
No.
Groucho with it. Goose will pay you. He'll pay you. He'll pay you in at least in his servitude.
Go-
He'll do
Goose is in,
$5 worth.
Goose is in between jobs right now. I don't think he should be paying
I'll
anyone
pay you
anything
in
till he gets his next job lined up.
Yeah, he'll pay you Wednesday for a hamburger today, like that dude from Popeye.
I will. I will.
But
Oh,
joining me
I
tonight,
guess
we
since I do
have
it. Hmm?
we have the Goosey. Say hi, Goose. And we got Mr. Joe
Hi, Goose.
Pocket. His pink mohawk's kind of finally fading, sadly, but man,
Well,
it kept its color for a long time.
I've dyed it 2-3 times, and I got my haircut last night. So, yeah.
Nice. But fellas, what do we have on the docket tonight? That's right. Goose had an action figure foretelling one of the amazing books will be covering, and that is Mr. Shirtless Bear-Fighter with his blurred out Padinger. And yes, the Padinger,
Yeah,
the Padinger's back.
Yeah.
Hey,
it is.
Goose, put your dirty doll away. Your mom's here.
Ah,
Oh,
there's also
Chad is
a
here.
bear.
Hi, Chad.
the
But-
Chad.
But yeah, Goose, what are we reading tonight, man? Or what are we talking about? We already read it. Like,
Yeah, we already read it. We're going to be talking about. Actually, I'll do both these. Two of my favorite series, which is it's going to be Shirtless Bear-Fighter, which is by Jody Layhup, Sebastian Gerner, Neil Vendrell is doing the art, and Mike Spicer on the colors with Dave Lanfear on letters. Super fun read if you like a man that God made by mistake when he made him too much of a man, and now he's fighting bears, no fucking clothes on. It's fantastic. And what the other one that I'll introduce is Exosisters, which is it's written by Ian Boothby, the art by Giselle Lagasse, colorist is Pete Pantazis, letterer Taylor Esposito, and there's another fun one about two sisters who obviously, as you can tell, are exorcisters. And it's super fun ride, and I can't wait to talk about these two.
if you get the gist of the books that Goosey just showed, we are doing funny books tonight, like actual funny books. I know comics are often called that, but we are talking about some of the most clever and hilarious ones we've come across. I will be talking about Cowboy Ninja Viking with beautiful art by Riley Rossimo and written by one Mr. A.J. Lieberman. And Joey will be talking about...
I'll be hitting on something a little more recent. I'll be talking about Jenny Zero because issue 3 just dropped a couple weeks ago, and a book that I read about a year ago, Count Crowley, which I just loved. It was hilarious, and we'll get into more specifics on those as we hit each book.
Yes. But before that, we have our check-in. Fellas, what did you read this week? Joey, you start.
I had a light week of reading. I only read 2 books aside from the stuff we're going to be talking about. Beyond the Breach, Ed Brisson, good Canadian boy. It was pretty good. A girl is on a road trip, driving through a forest, and this weird event happens, and monsters start chasing after them and tormenting them. And it was a decent first issue, a good horror comic. That was pretty fun. And yeah,
That's Aftershock, right?
yeah, it's Aftershock. It's
Cool.
the
I
first
didn't know
issue. It just came out last week.
I didn't know Brisen was writing for Aftershock. Right on. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that label.
It kind of had a bit of a like the Mist kind of vibe, like with the monsters and stuff. The monster designs are pretty cool in it. So first issue, it was pretty action packed for a first issue. Like often first issues are a little slow. They like to set the table, set up characters and stuff. But this one pretty got to the gist of it. And yeah, I really liked it. And I gotta love a book that uses the word bunghole in it. They use the word bunghole in it, so right there, that gets a thumbs up from me. Yeah. All right, the other book I read was the Silver Coins #4, written by Jeff Lemire. Man, I've been digging this series. Silver Coin is a great anthology series. I highly recommend anyone go pick it up. And don't worry if you didn't get in on the first issue, because each story is self-contained. So you could pick this motherfucker up right from issue 2, 3, 4, skip a few, and then read 8. It doesn't matter, man, because it's a new writer each time. And it's always, I think this is Walsh's, Michael Walsh. I think this is his baby, because he draws every one. And I guess from what Blake was telling me, issue 5 is going to be written and drawn by him. And it got picked up as an ongoing, which came out, that news came out a little while back. So we're going to be getting a lot more goodness from this series as we move forward. So yeah, people should be picking this up. It's a really fun book. And yeah.
Did you? Oh, I thought you were done. I was going to ask if you watched anything too, like if you've seen any new shows.
We started Atypical. It's a show we watch on Netflix. It's pretty good. It's like a comedy, short, like 20-minute sitcom thing. We love that show. It's pretty good. It's about an autistic kid who's in his teenage years going to college, and the family and how they cope with it, and his sister and everything. It's a really good, heartwarming show. So if you want something that's lighthearted and good family fun, then Atypical is definitely a fun show to watch. And I got a mail call this week. I just came in a couple days ago. Yeah. Essex County, the hardcover, baby.
Get ready to cry. Oh man,
this was a birthday present.
Shed those man tears. They're coming. Yeah. You're gonna shed some man tears.
I saw this book about a year ago, and I was like, I didn't pull the trigger. It was a little expensive, but then it was still there, and it's the cheapest one I've seen online so I was like, I don't normally buy myself birthday presents very often, but I was like, this year I will. So
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, so I'm anxious to read that. Got the hardcover. Yeah. Yeah, I've been putting it off. I said I refuse to read it until I get the hardcover, so now I'm going to get to read it.
Goose, the whole family's here, brah. Say hi to Poppy. Hello, Mr. Goose's dad, sir. All right, Goosey, your check-in, man.
I've watched a lot of Coco Melon this week, which is a kids show that we put on for my son. And then I watched, me and him watched some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, starting at season 1, which was awesome. And then I have been playing a fuck ton of Breath of the Wild early in the mornings. Oh, yeah?
I have a word of advice for you. The shows you let your kid watch, change them up sporadically. Don't let them binge too much of one show, because I was listening to the radio and they were saying a lot of kids that watch Papa's Pig. What's that one? Papa's Pig. Anyway, it affects their speech patterns. Yeah, they start talking when kids grow up. They talk like their speech patterns are just like the from the show. It affects the way. So change up the shows. Don't just plop them and make him watch the same fucking things. He'll start talking like the characters as he grows up. So change it up, which is good, because you watched one and you watch Power Rangers, so that's good, man. You got to change it up, or else he'll start speaking like the characters.
I'm just gonna make my kid watch nothing but Samuel L. Jackson movies from now on, because I just want him to be old.
Snakes on a plane.
Have your kid learn to talk like Dolph Lundgren. That'd be awesome. He's just like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I must break him.
I told Dakota when we were having the kid, like, we should just speak to him in British accent, so our kid like grows up with a British accent, and people would be like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Texas, mate." I think that's Australian. I don't fucking know accents, but no, I played a lot of Breath of the Wild. I've played it and beaten it before, but I just pulled the Master Sword this morning.
Zelda,
I've been playing it before we go on our walk. Oh yeah, Zelda. Big Zelda fan. And then that was about it. It was Cocomelon, Mighty Morphin, and some YouTube videos and Breath of the Wild, plus a fuck ton of applications, which I got some interviews lined up. It's just pretty sick. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done this week.
We got some fan check-ins before I do mine. Goose's dad has been watching Invincible. Very nice choice, sir. Very enjoyable little show. Wonderful animation too. It is done so excellently. And then the Chad says this week he has been reading The Dregs. Damn dog, that's a serious book. He's been reading Pirouette by Black Mask. That is an also really pretty hardcore book. I love it though. Good little two-shot. He's been reading The Plot 1 and 2 and Nam Wolf. Is that like about a werewolf in Vietnam? If it is, like, I gotta check that out. That sounds dope.
No,
And he
I
also
saw the
says that
I saw the cover
he's.
for it. Oh,
Go ahead. Continue, Mr.
oh no, I was
Goose.
just gonna say I saw the cover for Non Wolf when he sent out the. I saw the cover for Non Wolf when he put it in the chat, and it looked pretty sick.
Sweet. He also says he's been reading Rogue Planet by Colin Bunn, and yeah, you can never go wrong with big old Colin Bunn and his prolific ass. Like, I've read so much of his work, and very little of it has ever not amazed me. Goose's dad says that he made Goose watch horror movies. That's why Goose talks the way he does. At least he doesn't call me up and go,
always.
"Do you want to watch a scary movie?" At least he doesn't. He's like, you made him watch good horror films. And Goose was a Power Ranger nut as a kid. Well, I'm not sure about the Power Ranger thing, but he's still a nut now as a grown up, and we love him for it. But my check-in this week, I actually got a lot in. I got the Schlepzig collection, the 2020 through 2021 collection of shorts, and man, he was not false advertising when he was on our show. Lots and lots of great fun stuff in there. I also got and read Broken Gargoyles from Source Point Press, a really good book. We're going to be talking about that soon. We might do a war episode, so we could cover that. I got issue 2 of Cult Heroes by Raymond Estrada. That's a Kickstarter I always back. Oh, dude, it is so massively brutal and amazing. I really like the second issue. Lots and lots of hero slaughter. And if you're a fan of stuff like Invincible, you might want to check this one out when the next campaign pops up. I also got a 8-page mini comic from him called The Ghosting Machine, which was wonderful. It's like a little 8-page side story about another hero. And this one, basically, it takes your bad memories away, but then she has to live with them. So she's kind of like this lonely, tortured person. And the way he rendered it, the way his art just portrayed it, very lovely. I think Raymond Estrada is doing a great job. I got the last book for Gerard Way's Doom Patrol and read it. Oh, man. DC needs to quit canceling all their good books, man. Like, Superman books will always be there. Like, let Doom Patrol always be there too, you sons of bitches. But on to stuff that I watched. I finally sat down and watched Black Widow. It's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. It's probably one of the better Marvel solo films I've seen in a while. I kind of wish they made this one sooner before the character was dead, but all in all, it's a solid, fun little picture that I think most people would have fun with. I watched the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix, which, once again, man, I don't usually like teeny bopper horror, like that Scream era stuff, but this movie is actually pretty cute. I liked the teen characters. I liked the weirdness of it. I'm not a huge R.L. Stine fan, but I think that this show's a lot of fun. And if you want to kind of have a goofy, fun time with some good horror, like, check out Fear Street. But last is like the coolest thing I've seen in a while, man. I started watching the show Pennyworth, which is a show about Alfred. It's on a channel called Epics, but it's about Alfred, Batman's butler, when he was young and he was a spy, and it's just all the kind of weird missions he goes on and the weird villains he had to take down when he was over in England. And it's just wonderfully done. If you like old British shows like The Prisoner or The Avengers, this is right up your alley. Very, very well done. The kid that plays Alfred is really good at his role, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, let's get into the books, shall we? We will be starting off with Shirtless Bear-Fighter, and Goose, take her away.
This book right here is something very, very special, especially to me. It was one of the books that I got into when I got back into comics, like late 2017, 2018. And Shirtless Bear-Fighter is straight to the point with its title. It is about our main character, Mr. Shirtless here. who fights bears, and the whole time you find out he was a orphan baby. He was born with a beard and a giant padinger because God made him too much of a man. He made a mistake when he made him. He was raised by bears until one day his brother bear murders the woman that he loves and convinces the family that because he loved a woman and not a bear, that he wasn't part of the actual family. So they send him out, and he vowed from that day forward to fight every bear he comes across. And
I'm sorry, the plot line is
and-
just so great. Like even just hearing it read out, it's hilarious, man. Oh man, good. Continue. I'm sorry.
and no, you're fine. It's absolutely fantastic. It is full of some of the wittiest. I don't even know if I'd call them the wittiest puns. They're the easiest puns you can make. There's a bear plane. The president won't negotiate with bearist. It's so funny. It makes me laugh out loud every time I read it, especially when we get to meet the pig, who is a southern pig who makes magic bacon that will control your mind. My sweet teats, and the way that he talks is just great. Like I think it's spelled T-E. Or is it for the? I'm trying to find the right word for it. Yeah, it's more than a man can bear. all kinds of really great stuff. It is, the art in it is fantastic. There's all kinds of little jokes, and the story itself is pretty great. Ending with some. I actually thought the ending of it reminded me a lot of a Captain Underpants book that I'd read as a as a kid, and super great book. I'm a huge fan of it, as you can tell by my bearskin rug and my limited edition butt ass naked and also pants shirtless characters. I absolutely love them. That's probably part of the reason why Dakota says I can't buy action figures anymore, because the last one I bought was nude. And so what did you guys think about the book?
Like you said, man, they really didn't miss any opportunity. My favorite was they even worked in what's the brand of toilet paper that's got the bears in the commercial? Is it Charmin? Yeah,
Charmin.
like they even have a joke about that with the bear. And then when Sylvia, the chick spy, comes and saves him in the toilet paper bear mascot outfit, and she's helping him beat up the. Oh, dude, it was just. They didn't miss any opportunity, but yeah, the airplane was one of my favorites. And then when they showed him when he went to war and he's like fighting that panda in China, I was just like, oh, dude, it just doesn't stop, dude. It's just you just grin the entire time you're reading it because it's hilarious, and it shouldn't be, like you said. It almost borders on being too silly, but it knows the razor's edge that it walks, and it never steps over it. Like it just keeps you grinning and laughing.
Yeah, this book was great. It's like reading some of the best skits from either Saturday Night Live or Kids in the Hall. Like this book is like a great comedy sketch from like a show like Saturday Night Live or Kids in the Hall. The art is great. I love the way, like, bear punch, then you show the eyes with the stars in it. You know, they're popping out with the stars. It's such a great little take. And then when he's fighting all the bears across the country, and they go to different cities. Then you turn to that one page, and it's like Chicago, and he's fighting the Chicago Bears. Then it goes down to San Francisco, and he's fighting all these bears. Like I guess gay people, like big hairy men, are called bears, and he's fighting San Francisco, fighting all these gay guys. It's freaking hilarious. It's so good. There's so many moments, and you all know how I feel about full frontal nudity. So, man, right off the bat, I think it's page 3. Full frontal nudity. Well, it was pixelated out. So that was the only slight I have against this book. I need an unedited version. I want the full. I want to see him in his full manliness.
And pixelated out like Japanese porn. What the hell?
Yeah. But it was great, man. I think I highly recommend this book to anyone. Anyone who wants a fun, good, humorous, like just gives you some chuckles as you're reading, man. This book definitely hits it out of the park. It was so good.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, you would think
actually,
that it's so
funny.
cliche. You think it was so cliche, the whole baby
I,
being
no,
born
I was
with
just
a
gonna bring.
beard and a big dick, but when you get to that page and you see it, like the way it's rendered is just hilarious. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be as funny as it actually is when you get to it.
Mm. And I love this suplex where he suplexes the bear, then they
Oh
have his pixelated dick curling. It's so
yeah, when he does the reverse belly
No,
to back
every
German
time he flips,
suplex, that's just
yeah,
so.
yeah. It's so funny. Yeah,
every time he does one of the quick turnarounds and it has the sound effect slap on the
slap.
leg, I
Yeah,
crack up every fucking time. Oh man, and it was funny, Joe. You were talking about it's a good book for anybody. I've got a friend of mine who is your stereotypical meathead. I absolutely love him to death. He's a giant of a man. If he hears me call him meathead, he might break me like the toothpick I am. But he came to one of the comic stores with me when I was living in Fort Worth, and I actually picked up Shirtless Bear-Fighter for him, and he absolutely loved it. And this is a man who I was sure could not read it, but read it and enjoyed it. And it really is an enjoyable read for anybody except maybe like a nun. And so, and fuck it, even nuns will like it. Read Shirtless Bear-Fighter, nuns. It's great.
and I love the way he draws this crazy when he gets into his rage. When he's raging, he gets the crazy eyes, and with the eyebrows. Ah, it's so good, man. Like, the artist did a great job with it. Yeah. It was good. The art was great. The writing, it was on point. I mean, like you say, it's silly, but silly in all the best ways possible.
This is actually for me. This is. Go ahead, Johnny.
Go ahead. No, I keep stepping on you, man. Go.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, this is Jody Lehup's or Lehup. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. I think so. But this is his redemption book for me because he also wrote The Weatherman, and within like the first issue, they kill a dog, and like it made me real sad. And I almost didn't read the rest of Weatherman because of it. But then I read all of Shirtless Bear-Fighter, and I was like, I'll give Weatherman a chance. And it's also another great book. But yeah, that's all I was gonna say. That's Jody Lehup's redemption book for me because he killed the dog.
One of the neatest things about this book that I really liked from get-go is how popular it got, man, and how big it blew up when it first came out. Because I was like digging it. I thought it was like a great, funny idea, but like it took off. Like everybody, I remember the first issue sold out like hotcakes. It was one of those image books that like they had to reprint several times, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't see that coming, and I think that it's sorely missed because like nobody really well, they're starting to again writing books this funny again, and I really hope that they'll catch on like this one did.
Yeah, for sure. Not enough. I think it's probably because it's so hard to write a book that it'll actually get the laughs. Like, and keep it without, like you said, bordering on where it just gets ridiculous and silly, where it's just complete nonsense. Like this actually held the story together. It was funny. It was well paced. I mean, I don't think that it's that easy to do. Otherwise, more people would be doing it.
Yeah, I would hope so, but it seems like everybody wants to be serious and angry. That's why I'm really happy we did this episode, because I was just really good to like read a bunch of stuff and laugh the whole time I was doing it this week. And yeah, great pick, Goose. Like,
yeah,
dude,
no,
the airplane is probably one of the greatest things ever drawn in a comic. I still smile just thinking about the panel where you see it approaching the the spy plane. Oh man, that's good stuff.
And man, you got to give him those flapjacks, or else it gets him grumpy.
Yeah, he loves his flapjacks.
Yeah,
they're not pancakes.
No, they're flapjacks. Do not make that mistake. It'll cost you dearly.
when he flips through the fucking pancakes, the flapjacks, like it's money, and then takes the maple syrup and like rubs it on his teeth like it's drugs, I fucking cracked up so goddamn hard at that shit. Oh man, it was so fucking funny. The book when we talked about doing a comedy episode, this was one of the first books that definitely popped into my head, because it's one of my favorites. Like I said, it helped get me back into comics, and man, it's such a great book.
They should make an animated movie for it. Like that would be so good. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah. But we're gonna need it to not be pixelated.
Well, you'll have two cuts. The just put out two cuts. I know which one I'll be purchasing.
The American and the European editions.
Yeah. Maybe the Beast will make a guest appearance.
He kind of looked like a bear, so yeah, I don't see why Shirtless Bear-Fighter couldn't.
The Beast, the movie, the 1972 movie, The Beast.
Yeah, the one that you're always talking about. Yeah,
that one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, make man do a crossover where he fights. He goes to Europe and saves that chick from the Beast. They'll put their schlongs to the test.
But the side characters in this book are great too. Like I said, the girl spy Sylvia, she kind of steals the show a little bit because she's just so sweet and innocent, but she ends up having to kick so much ass with them. And what's the boss spy's name? He kind of looks like Joe Jonah Jameson. I thought he had some really good lines too. Like I really like when they write side characters as good as the main character.
The main villain you're talking about?
No, just the main.
The FBI guy, the main, he was all right. But the main villain, man, he was like, I found they took a little bit of everything and threw it into him. Like sometimes he had like the Kingpin outfit, always the white suit. Then his facial expressions were kind of like the Joker. Like he was kind of an amalgamation of all kinds of different villains. You know, like they took every kind of, I don't know, stereotype of a villain and threw it into that villain, which was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, just really solid job. Like I'm surprised they didn't do more with this, but I don't know. I guess you don't rush and put out sequels to excellence without some proper time to build it up. So maybe we will get more Shirtless Bear-Fighter. I really hope we do. That would be great.
Hey, they definitely ended it with thinking there was going to be more stories to come.
Yeah, they left it open, and with books,
I just want to see him go around kicking Yogi Bear's ass.
They'd have to cross over with DC, but I'm pretty sure DC would let it happen. But with books like Metal Shark Bro coming out and being so popular, I kind of hope that Image starts putting books like this out again and not just tries to find the next saga all the time like they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, zipping right along, we're going to talk about Ginny Zero issue 3, which Goose actually hasn't got to read yet, and he wasn't on the first couple episodes where we got to talk about it. So this is going to be fun. This is going to basically be me and Joe trying to sell him on Dave DeWanch's little masterpiece he's got popping off at Dark Horse. And Joey, take it away.
Yeah, well, Ginny Zero number 3 came out. Like I said, I think it came out a couple weeks ago. So you got DeWanch and Brock, what's his name? Brockton McKinney, they're co-writing it. Then the illustrator is Magenta King, who's doing a great job on this. The colors are by Dam, and letters David DeWanch. Actually, Dave DeWanch actually does the lettering on this. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, if you like off the wall, offbeat, sassy, self-destructive characters, man, that are sassy and deliver great one-liners, man, this book is for you. I mean, DeWanch and Brockton's humor, like Dave and Brockton, man, their humor hits with me big time. Like in issue 1, there's that turn page where she says a joke and they deliver the punchline on the turn page, which is just fucking comedy gold on how you do it in comics, man. Like she's delivering a line, you turn the page, and there's the delivery right there on the next page, and it's perfect. It's hilarious. I laughed out loud for like a good few minutes on that. So, I mean, if you want a good laugh with a book with a lot of action, this is it. And issue 3, it continues the journey of Jenny, and she goes on. This is more of a self-discovery issue where she in issue 2, she learns she has powers and stuff, and now she's going into the mountains to find this person to help her hone her skills. So it's kind of a self-discovery issue where she's trying to get more in touch with herself, find some inner peace, maybe, which doesn't really happen. And it's definitely leads into it's going to be a huge issue for number 4, because the end, there's a big battle coming. And this book leads into that final issue of the first arc, and it's going to be a banger. Issue 4 is going to be a definite banger with some more action, some more kaiju action.
Right. That's the awesome thing about this, is it's going to be its own little universe, and I really hope it takes off. That's why I like talking about it every time there's a new issue, or not new issue, but there's an issue out, because I really want more people reading this, because I want more of this. It's so good. Just the idea of having a snotty like socialite that is actually a kaiju warrior at the same time. When she gets kind of Hulk angry, the second issue where you get to see her in full kaiju glory was just so much fun, and you also get to see like why she is the way she is. But this one really builds up to, like Joe was saying, this big fight that's going to wrap up the introduction to this universe, and I'm invested. I mean, I really am.
And like you say, they cover a lot of ground in each issue, like covering some backstory, and they do a great job with the backstory to present. It's a great balance, and they juggle the two perfectly in synchronism in each issue. Like, it's so well done. It doesn't kill the pacing. It's masterfully done, and it's a fun book. Action. It's funny. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, you need to go read this book. Anyone who doesn't, I'm sorry, but I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, just her reaction to what she gets angry about while she's a kaiju is hilarious. That should hook anybody into being a fan, because she's more worried about it showing up on TMZ than she is like actually causing the carnage that she's causing, which I thought was just hilarious. I thought was very well written, very appropriate for the time.
It's like Paris Hilton and what's her name? What's that show? The two of them.
Nicole Richie,
the two friends. Yeah, the two friends. It's kind of got that kind of dynamic, Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton vibe. It's funny. It's definitely pretty funny.
So yeah, I mean, when the trade for this drops, like, definitely pick it up if you haven't been getting the issues, because this is one that you're going to want to read and be into. You want the T-shirt. You want people to know that you were there, that you heard of it first.
And
like
they've been working. They've already been working on the second art, and from what I understand, they just haven't gotten the green light yet to announce anything, but they've been dropping little teasers, like some sketch works, a few pages here and there. They've been dropping it on Twitter. So the second arc is in the works. They just haven't gotten the green light to announce anything yet.
So, Goose, have we sold you on this bad boy yet? Oh, yeah,
no. He's not into it.
Yeah, we lost him for good. Oh, poor Goose. Maybe one day he will see the light.
He doesn't like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Nope. I guess some people just don't.
Nope, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
I'm gone.
Yeah. But I mean, this is probably the first thing I've read from DeWanch and McKinney. And man, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with the way they deliver the lines, the way they pace their story. It's really well done.
Yeah, really DeWanch kind of just jumped out of nowhere and kind of became a deal in my life really fast. I think I saw him on Kickstarter. He had one called Spores at the time, and the next thing I know, everybody's hitting me up being like, "Yo, dude, Dave DeWanch, Ginny Zero, check this out." And I was just like, "Damn, yeah, he's good." It's kind of like the same thing that happened with Philip Sevi, the guy that does triage for Dark Horse. I really like that Dark Horse kind of does that. Like, I know, like, push these guys that really do bust their ass and have a lot of stuff out, but nobody knows them, and really helps them get to the surface, because like DeWanch kind of went from being nowhere, not on my radar at all, to being like one of the biggest names, circulating. So that's pretty rad how fast that happened.
I mean, people need to go out and buy this, because I think DeWanch still has a day job, from what I understand. So people go buy this book so he can just dedicate more time to writing fucking awesome books like this, man. Come on, help the guy out.
He'd be working all night for the man.
I actually, I just realized I backed Spores too. I think that's one that you sent to me, and I got the OGN that's coming out, and I don't think it's shipped yet, but I'm definitely excited to read that.
Hell yeah. So, have we sold you on Ginny Zero though, Goose? Are you gonna check it out? Do you think it sounds cool?
Oh, hell yeah! Kaiju's and witty dialogue. That's like two things that'll draw me in instantly. And I know Joey said if you're not reading it, then I don't know what's wrong with you. But trust me, Joe, my mom and dad are down in the chat, and they can tell you no one knows what's wrong with me, brother. So we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna read Ginny Zero, and we'll be good from there.
There you go. That's one step in the right direction.
But yeah, like Joey said, I can't recommend this book any higher. It's just a good time on paper and the story.
Yeah, every time it comes in, I'm so looking forward. Like, it's one of those books you just look forward to reading. Like when I was reading Shirtless Man-Bear, like I couldn't wait. Like it's almost like you didn't want to read it too fast because you know you're getting to the end and you won't have any more. So you try to pace it out, stretch it out a bit. That's how good it is. You don't want it to end, so you're worried that if you read it too fast, it'll be over. You know.
I heard that. Yeah, I have a hard time with the endings too. Like when it gets to the last season of a show I like there are a few that I've never watched because like I was worried that they'd end really badly. So like so yeah, I have a hard time with the endings. So I hear where you're coming from.
But good news, it's not ending. Just the first arc.
This is the first arc, and I'm glad that they already are hinting at new stuff because, like, there's a lot of stuff that Dark Horse launches that's going to be its own universe and have more to it that never seems to come out. You know, like No One Left to Fight Book 2 and shit. Like, they kind of leave a lot hanging, so it's really good to know that this one is really being continued in the near future. So that's also a really good feeling to know.
Yeah, definitely. 2 thumbs up on that one.
Amen. 2 horns up high. And getting back to our big books, I am going to be talking about a book that I read a long time ago when I was kind of first getting into Image. To put it into context, there are literally jokes about the event Siege from Marvel on the back of this book, that the Cowboy Ninja and the Viking they're telling you to buy this book instead of anything else that's out there. So like if you remember when Siege happened at Marvel, like that's when this book was coming out. But this, of course, is Cowboy Ninja Viking, written by A.J. Lieberman. That means lover man in German, if you didn't know. Art and tones by one Mr. Riley Rossimo. And oh my God, does he do a beautiful flipping job in this book. It is lettered by Clayton Cowles and cover design by Dave Casey. And dude, this book is just... Oh, it's just a kick in the pants, man. Like as a person that really, really likes espionage noir and have a good sense of humor, like this thing is utter perfection. And it tells the story of Duncan. And Duncan is what is known as a triplicate. Basically, he is a schizophrenic that was brought to the government, and they basically programmed him to have different identities for different jobs. His particular lineup is a cowboy, a ninja, and a Viking. So he has just like the brute force and the actual living essence of like those type of warriors inside of him. And he is trying to figure out what happened to him while he's also having to deal with other triplicates from his same program that have gone awry. And it is just presented in this glorious art style by Riley Rossimo. And he's got this very slapstick-ass, very really kinetic, full of motion art style. But the thing that really, really grabs me the most is the limited art palette or color palette that they use in the book. Like each issue kind of has one color that appears with the black and white, and it's just so muty. It's just so lush. It really gives this book such a killer look. And all the different triplicates they come up with and the different three skills that they give some of the villains are just so much fun. Like there's like pirates and gladiators and deep sea diver guys, and they all make an appearance. Any kind of weird warrior you could think of, and oh man. Goose, how did this one hit for you? Because I know that this was your first time like really checking it out or hearing about it. Nice hat.
Well, I'll be your Huckleberry. No, the first thing that I want to say about this, it's such a kick-ass book, but the one thing that stuck out to me, and the one that I hated that you didn't just mention when you're talking about all the warriors, is my favorite warrior of them all. And no, it's not the cowboy. I just have the hat. It's the roadie for fucking Dawkins. And I mentioned that band in particular because they did Dream Warriors for Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And that I fucking love that song and that band. The fact that he was a roadie for Dawkins, like that's like I think issue 3, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, I like the fuck out of this guy. He talked about going on tour with Sarah Lachlan and how it was all like hippies and shit like that. It's so good. The dialogue for this book was incredible. I was a little confused at first at the first couple of pages, but I really liked how they did the. Did you say Clayton Cowles did the letters on this?
Yep.
Yeah.
I really like how they did the letter bubbles when they're switching between personalities. Say if it's Cowboy, Viking, Ninja. If the Cowboy's talking, it's got a pistol. If the Ninja's talking, it's got a ninja sword. If the Viking's the one that's doing the talking, it's got an axe. And they're all talking at the same time. And so it really helps to differentiate between which ones. And it goes the same for the other triplicates. If you've got the Applebee's guy, if he's talking, it has the fucking menu. He mentions about Flair when he's wearing his Daniel Boone hat. Like it's got another one. It's got like the musket. But I thought that was really interesting. The whole book was such an interesting concept, and I can't believe I had not heard of it. And just the way that it flows and it's full of action and these jokes, man, like show that motherfucker what's good in the neighborhood, which is like one of the Applebee's things. And me and Dakota laughed really, really hard at his lines. Yeah, dude, no, when we laughed super hard at that because she was a manager at Applebee's for a little while, and like all the little Applebee's jokes made us laugh our asses off. Just a really solid book, super fucking funny, lots of action. It just reminded me of like a 90s action film, like The Last Boy Scouts or fucking even Last Action Hero is a great one to bring up, like all of the ridiculous characters and just how insane the book is from start to finish. They're playing poker and like trading meds and shit like that, all going just batshit crazy, and it just plays so well, man. I really enjoyed it as my first time reading it.
Right. I like that you threw the movie thing in there because it kind of also with some of the action and some of the espionage, it's almost on par with like the Jason Bourne or like the Kingsman movies, but it's got all this ridiculousness thrown on top of it, which really kind of, I don't know, sets it apart from those. So it's not just copying them, and it makes them really fun. Like Joe, how did you dig on this baby?
It took me probably 5 issues to get into it. The early on, I love, like Goose said, the dialogue bubbles helped make things clear. It helped you understand. It helped you avoid any confusion of what was going on. But then it's when they introduced the more side characters, less well-developed characters, and they all have these triplicate personalities, right? And you don't see them enough. So they're going back and forth a lot of the times, and I was getting a little lost on which character was actually talking now. The main character is fine because I knew his 3, and that was. But then there was a few smaller side characters, villains that had them, and they were talking, and then there was a group of them. So I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Because there's a whole like gang of triplicates, and they all have these personalities, and they're all coming out with these fucking bubbles, and I'm like, I'm having a hard time trying to fucking figure out which bubble goes to which character, and oh my god, it was a little confusing at some points I found, but then after you get to know the characters a little better, it took me a little while. Like the main character was easy, I got that one down, but then there's a lot of little side characters where they were introduced quickly one after the other. Like when after that initial 3 issues where Ammo gets. That was cool because you only had 2 characters that were like that. Then they introduced the whole other 12 of them. Right, there was 12 total, and when they all start to jump into the story, that's when I was like, "Whoa, slow it down now. I gotta try to keep pace with this." And yeah, it was really cool the way they did that. The art, it really kicked into high gear. I noticed a shift in his art beginning in issue 5 or 6 when they go to Bangkok.
Yeah,
His color palette choice was so good. That's when the book really visually took off for me. Starting from there, the color palettes and the way he colored it, there's a little shift there. He refined it a little bit. His art was a little tighter. It wasn't as loose. He tightened it up a little bit. And from issue 5 or 6 on, man, this book is gorgeous, just gorgeous. So if you're not digging on the art in the first few issues, wait till issue 5. And I think after the first arc, maybe it got popular, so they had maybe their deadlines weren't as tight, so he had a little more time to work on the next arc, because that second arc, that the art that from Rossimo is just beautiful, man. His colors, his color palette he picks for each story, it's so well done, so well done.
right.
And my favorite character in this book was his ex-lover, Greer.
Yeah, she's badass.
She is awesome. Like, I love her personalities. It was great. She was my favorite character in the whole book.
She punk rock as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She don't put up with him at all. Yeah. Go on. I ain't talking. Go on.
One of the things Joe was saying about being hard to follow was in some of one of the things I liked about the art was in some of them there was like arrows pointing you in the direction of the action when it kind of got a little convoluted, and I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
I really love the arguments that the Cowboy, the Ninja, and the Viking have in Duncan's head. Like, they are so hilarious. They are such funny ass characters, and just the clash. And I like how I like his battle outfit with the Viking helmet, and then he's got the katana and the 6-gun. I mean, it's just such a neat look. Like, they keep saying they're making a film out of it, and they just need to do it already. Jake Gyllenhaal as Duncan, put a damn Viking helmet on him, give him a katana, and I'll watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe what's his name? Daniel Radcliffe. I think after seeing Guns Akimbo, I think he could probably play a really good Duncan too.
Yeah. Those are 2 good, solid choices, man.
Who'd you like to see, Goose? You got anybody you'd like to see play Duncan in a Cowboy Ninja Viking film?
Oh man, I'm terrible at fan casting, but I was thinking, I don't know, like you said the dude for Daniel Radcliffe, but I don't know. He'd probably be really good at it, because all I'm thinking of is Daniel. The fucker from Daniel Craig from James Bond, but not as the character. You just said Daniel, and like his name popped in my head. But no, definitely Daniel Radcliffe could play that psycho bastard.
That's funny. Like, when you say Daniel, you think of Daniel Craig. Like, if you say Daniel to me, I think of Ralph Macchio. I think of Daniel San. Like, forever and eternity. Like you say the word Daniel, I see Macchio in my head. Joe, who would you cast? Who would you think off the top of your head?
I don't know. Like, I thought Jake would definitely be an interesting choice, because he always plays these weird kind of offbeat characters that are a little borderline unhinged, and I think he'd definitely play it off pretty good. I think that's a solid choice. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, have him play like a silly version of his character from Nightcrawler, and I think he'd be great.
Yeah. Definitely like that. It's just on the verge of a meltdown, you know?
Right.
Okay, but if we're doing that, I want Tobey Maguire like just in there playing like one of the Vikings or like the Cowboy or the Ninja. Just switch them 2 out interchangeably to really fuck people's heads up.
But I think you got to go with the same actor playing his triplicates, man, because that'd be so fun for an actor, no? To play all those multiple roles. It'd be too fun for him.
Like Eddie fucking Murphy.
Yeah, but going back to what you said before, like the banter between the triplicates, like the Ninja, the Cowboy, like those are some of the best That's where the book shines a lot of the time, because you could see how comfortable they are, like, because they've been together forever, right? And just the back and forth, like, oh, you're such a jerk. You know, the one guy always delivers, that ninja always delivers a line. He's like, the Viking's like, you're such an ass. You're such a jerk. Because the ninja's always like the know-it-all, fucking puts everyone in their place with facts, and the Viking's always like, you're an ass. I thought that was pretty good. The banter, there's some good banter between the triplicates. Yeah.
I think I'm about to blow Chad's mind when he finds out that I'm using my alter ego, Chad Johnson, in the chats.
Oh, he didn't know that was you.
I don't think so. I don't think he knew that was me.
For anybody that really likes what we're talking about or has read Cowboy Ninja Viking and wants something else really fun in this vein, I would recommend checking out another Image book called Five Ghosts. It's written by Frank J. Barbary, and it is drawn by Chris Moonham, and it's about this guy who basically is haunted by the ghosts of Dracula, Robin Hood, a samurai, a wizard, and Sherlock Holmes. And they kind of are always helping him and talking to him and doing his adventures with him. And it only ran for 2 arcs, but it was so much fun. It was another really, really solid book. So if you kind of like a thing where there's several characters in one character, like, this is another really massively fun book. It's nowhere near as funny as Cowboy Ninja Viking. This one plays it a little more serious. It's way more pulpy. You know what I mean? It's not super serious. It's pulpy, though.
Yeah.
But zipping right on along, Goose, why don't you show us the sisters?
Oh shit, where's my book? Oh, it's right here. Ooh,
unprepared.
The next book we're going to be talking about another. God, I'm the worst. The next book we're going to be talking about is going to be Exosisters, as I mentioned earlier in the live stream. It's written by Ian Boothby with art by Giselle Lagasse. Pete Pantazzi and Taylor Esposito are also credited in the book. I believe it's the letterer and the colorer. Yeah, colorist and letterer. And I think I've got the physical copy of Volume 2 here. And basically what we have is these two sisters, Kate and Kate, one spelled with a C, one spelled with a K. The one with the C is going to be the cleaner looking sister you see here. And my favorite one, Kate with a K, the punk rock bratty bitch that I absolutely love, who is always drinking and always having a good time and always kicking demons' asses. But basically what the story is about is the mother of Kate's sold her daughter's soul to save her own. And so at 13 years old, demons burst in, steal the soul of Kate, who there was only one daughter, which you find out pretty early on. And what ended up happening was Kate had an alter ego, which was Kate with a K. And when the demons came to take her soul, she signed the contract as Kate, the one with the K. So the person that they took was her more daring, crazier half that she would use when she would get scared on, like, say, roller coasters or anything like that. She would go as Kate instead of Kate. I don't know if that's a little confusing. It may sound like it, but after she grows up and tries to get her soul back, she ends up going to hell, getting her soul back, and they had become so different that her soul could not bond with her and became the physical embodiment of another sister. And that is how we have Kate and Tate. And we jump into the story right as the world's ending. There's angels falling. There's this great shadow that we don't know too much about at first, but it has been around since time immemorial, and it has an infinitesimal amount of God's power, which we also find out, which is infinite power, and even the smallest amount of infinite is still fucking infinite. And there's a war going on, and it's getting real intense after the first volume, which is what we read. And man, it's such a funny and kick-ass book. There's all these little jokes and quips, and the sisters the soul sisters going back and forth. And I really, when we mentioned the comedy episode, like I said, Shirtless popped up and Exosisters was right there. I've been gunning to talk about this book, and it is so, so great. The art is this fantastic kind of cartoonish indie style, as you can see here. It is
Yeah, it's like
really,
a
really
cleaner
good.
version. It's like a cleaner version of the Hernandez brothers. Is kind of how I would point it out.
Yeah, and it's like I said, the art is great. The way that they drew the sisters, they're attractive. I don't know what it is, man. It's that goofy art style. It makes them kind of pop, and it gives them a lot of extra life. And it's super great. I love the characters. I love the way that it's written. I hate that it only got 10 issues. But you can pick up the entire story, which is 2 volumes. I think 10 issues altogether, and it is super kick-ass. I highly recommend it to anybody that likes anything about the occult or just a goofy, fun story with some cute-looking punk rock chick and her straight-laced, soulless sister. Surprisingly enough, neither one of them is redheaded.
The cool thing that Goose kind of forgot to mention, though, is the first arc actually isn't tied to that huge overarching plot. It kind of starts out more like I don't know, more of a really slapsticky Scooby Doo. Like the first couple issues are these kind of really fun cases that they take on. The first one's about this guy who basically he finds this demon that'll give him money for
misery demon.
misery. So he pretends that like he gets dragged to hell, so his wife, the chick that was going to be his wife, will be miserable, and he can just make all this money. And they foil it all Scooby Doo style. And I thought that was just a fun plot. And then the second one with the possessed dad it was hilarious, man. It's kind of funny that you like the punk rock sister. I like the straight laced one better. Like I look that whole goth businesswoman look. Oh, so hot. Lagasse is like we were talking about last week. Another one of these female artists that just knows how to draw really attractive women. I don't really go gaga over drawn girls too often, but the sisters in this book are really really hot in my opinion. So is the one in the next book we'll talk about too. I like Count Crowley too, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah, I dug this book. I thought it was super charming. And you guys keep talking about the art, and I think one of the things that really helps this book, that really nails it home, are just the facial expressions. She nails like the facial expressions and just the hand gestures of when they're talking. It's so natural and so real. Like it really gives off like you know exactly the tone, the meaning, the emotion, and it's really Legacy does a really good job. And I just got to give a shout out because that's a Montreal artist, right? So shout out to some homegrown talent, and she does a great job, man. You know, it definitely fits the mood of the book because it's a much more lighthearted, humorous kind of take on the whole thing. And yeah, I dig the Soul Sister. She's pretty cool. Like we're trying to sell you on Jenny Zero. It's basically almost like Jenny Zero. That Soul Sister is kind of like the character in Jenny Zero. You know, she's just a ruckus type person that's always just she's just out of control, off the rails, unpredictable. She's great. I mean,
yeah, you invite her into your house. Next thing you know, she's grabbing your whiskey. She's in your fridge, eating
eating your food. Yeah, man. She's like, there's no wall. Like, there's no barriers for her, right? There's no. She's like, she crosses any kind of like. She's like, oh yeah, I'll just be downstairs in your fridge, man. No big deal.
How could she have barriers?
Yeah,
everything about him is super great.
Yeah.
But Joe's right, man. The facial expressions, the way they're drawn are so good, especially since the characters are both really kind of sassy and snotty. So like the little scowls that they're drawn with constantly are just so cute, like really well rendered.
Yeah, when they go to hell, I love that too, where they're in the hell looking for the souls. And
I like when they did the court. They had to do the court.
The demon who got possessed by the little girl when he did the plantation.
Yeah, having a tea party. He fucked up and did a reverse possession.
And then she tells the eyeball guy wants to party with him. Like, no, we don't want tea, but this guy does. And he just grabs him and pulls him in. He's like, no, that's just hilarious.
Yeah. And another thing too, the little slapsticky part where it's like, anytime something explodes or like goo or whatever flies, it's always the serious sister that gets all freaking all full of goo, and the other one like never gets anything on her. It's like, why is it always me? Why don't you ever get anything on you? I always thought that's pretty good too. I thought it was pretty funny. Which leads to one of the funny parts. She's out showering up, which leads into the Buzz character coming in, And those are some pretty sexy scenes, man. The shower scene with the suds, man. Like I said, I like my nudity, male and female, in my comics, man. Actually, does every book we pick this week have nudity in it? No, 2 of them don't. Never mind.
Damn it, we gotta pick better.
Cowboy
Ninja didn't have any. I don't think they did.
No, and no pet dingers. No pet dingers in the Cowboy Ninja Viking.
No boobs. No.
I was thinking about the strip club scene with the Duchess.
No, they're all wearing underwear and bras, man. Well, they're always in underwear and bras.
Now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever seen Riley draw erotic art. I think that there was some nudity in Bedlam, but I think that was all kind of played for shock and grossness. Like, there's like this one killer in that. So, yeah, I don't think Riley does erotic, to tell you the truth. But, yeah, we'll have to pick better next time because, yeah, no padingers in Cowboy Ninja Viking. Sorry about that, Joe.
Well, I got one from Shirtless Bear,
Bear-Fighter,
but it was pixelated, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, we got to see cute goth girls in a shower though in this book, so it kind of brings it back up.
Yeah, the shower scene, yeah, Goose.
Joe is talking about the shower scene, and it has one of my favorite lines where Kate has caught her boyfriend Buzz, who's turned into one of Beelzebub's flies, and she slams it down on the table. And Kate wakes up and says, "Oh, why'd you wake me up? I had the most wonderful dream that I was sleeping." And I just fucking love that line so much. Just the little quips back and forth like that really sold me on this book from the jump. It was actually Dakota that picked it out, and I'm glad that she did because I fell in love with it just as much as she did. It was super good.
I've actually always wanted to check it out because I remember when it was out, I'd look at the covers, and for some reason, I thought it would be more like Coffin Hill, and that had me really excited to check it out. But now that I have read it and it's nothing like what I expected, I'm not disappointed. I really love this book. It kind of reminds me of iZombie, the actual Vertigo book, not the TV show. It had that kind of almost like spoofy Scooby-Doo take on horror type thing that I just have a good time with, man.
I think the horror genre is such a good genre to, like, if you want to go like the funny comedic route, it's such a great genre. You have so much to play with. And this book is a perfect example of that. Like, how many tropes you can just make fun of, and it's really, really well done.
Ooh, look at Goosey got the variants and shit. Yeah, that one there particularly looks like a Love and Rockets comic. Very, very Hernandez brothers. Yeah, right there. Actually, kind of looks like the art that they have up at my barbershop too. That it's also a hair salon, and they got like those black and white pictures of like weird art of hairdos. It's kind of sexy. Oh, and Comic Book Geek Werewolf has the iZombie omnibus. Good on you, man. That was such a good series. Like, oh my God, Mike Allred's art, chef kisses to the moon. That should have been one that I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier this week. I actually didn't do a pick because I couldn't think of a book that was actually funny. Well, it's as funny as the ones these guys were picking because like my books would have brought the mood down a little bit. You know what I mean? I was thinking about like some Ben Mara stuff, which is funny, but like it's shockingly funny. You know what I mean? It's not.
Another thing I wanted to say was that Giselle Lagasse, she also did some work on Archie, and I definitely got some of the like Archie kind of vibes from the characters, just done a little bit. I don't want to say better, but just done in a kind of a more comical style than you would get with Archie, and I thought that really kind of shone through in this series.
And one of her first books was a black and white book called Ménage à Trois that was self-published. And you can find those too. They have them in which company re-released them in a trade form? I can't remember, but you can get the collections now of those as well.
Nice. Yeah. Was it originally a Canadian book? Was it in French?
Yeah. I think so. I don't know if it was in French. It might have been because Dom at the comic shop recommended Exosisters to me. He's like, oh, this girl from Montreal is the artist here, and she had her own book. And then he showed me the Ménage à Trois, and he was like, yeah, it was black and white. She used to just print it herself and bring it to comic conventions and just sell like printed stuff out herself. And then I think someone from Montreal, a press publisher or whatever, released it, and then a bigger, I think, publisher jumped on and re-released it in a collected form. So yeah, she just beat the pavement, man. Just like going to cons and printing out her own shit, and then got a little recognition, got it actually published by a publisher, printed out into stores. So, you know, she put in the legwork, man. It wasn't just she wasn't an overnight success.
Good for her. Her art's killer too, so I'm happy she made it. And I wasn't thinking about it until Goose said, but like he's right. Her art style kind of is like a sexy Archie's comic like type of thing.
Yeah, she has that style, you know. So
was that the kind of style that Ménage à Trois was done in as well?
I haven't read it. Dom recommends so much stuff to me that I can't really pick everything up he tells me to read, but it's there on the rack. I just haven't picked up now that I've read. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I'll pick it up. I don't know. I'll have to talk to him more about it. I can't remember because he recommends a lot of stuff to me, and that was a while back. So I'd have to. Anyway, they let me open shit there and look at it, so I'll take a look next time.
I would say it's probably similar, just maybe a little rougher.
Check Swing. It's the one on the South Shore near my place, off Tash Row and just near Brossard. Yeah.
So if you're in America's Top Hat, don't forget to go check that out.
Yeah. Well, check out any of her work, man. Honestly, like we were saying, man, Exosisters, I can't recommend this book highly enough. It was a blast. It was really fun. It was really cute. Even with the subject matter, it never gets serious at all. So yeah, definitely just a good time on paper. And especially after Buzz shows up too, because he's got some really great parts. Plus they draw him kind of Jiminy Cricket looking. So, and they're just torturing him the entire time. So it's great. I don't know.
And the banter back and forth with the sisters too is pretty good.
Yeah, they talk shit, but like in really cute ways, really kind of snotty, sistery ways. I like.
Just like you're saying the courtroom scene.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, let's go to plan F or fuck this place, like meaning like let's go to plan fuck this place up or something. They start just kicking ass, and then she's taking out one. She looks over at her sister, sees if she needs any help. She's like, and she's just going stabbing like crazy. The serious one, she's like, yeah, I don't think you need any help.
Yeah. Well, even the serious one, she keeps that chopstick in her hair, but she pulls it out and shoots everybody with it. She always be stabbing somebody with the chopstick from her hair, man.
Yeah, I love that. There was definitely a bunch of good scenes in that.
And yeah, I think the first trade's one of those $9.99 image trades. So yeah, there's not a price problem at all or anything with this book. So get it. There's nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
But keeping it cruising, we are getting into the final stretch. The last book is probably my favorite read of the week. And Joey, take it away with Count Crowley.
All right, we got Count Crowley here. This came out about a year ago, I think. Maybe a little more. No, it came out before the pandemic. So yeah, that's almost been 2 years now. Man, time flies. Whew.
Yeah, I think it was the October right before it hit.
Yeah. And this is written by David... I don't ever can pronounce his last name probably. Distamalchin. Anyway, he's an actor, writer, director. He's actually playing Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie. That's the dude who wrote this. The art is by Lucas Kettner. The colors are by Lauren Affey, and the letters are by Frank Sitchkovich. And of course, I always have to give the designers a shout out, which is Skylar Weisenflew. So this story, Count Crowley, is about a disgraced reporter, journalist, whatever, and she has to go back to her hometown and work for this small news public news station where she has a problem with alcohol. So as a last result, the last chance she gets is she has to take over this late night show that's kind of similar to a Svengoolie type of show on, like it's a public cable type show, and she's not too crazy about it, and strange things start happening, and then because she has a bit of a drinking problem, she's not sure if this is due to her binge drinking or this is shit that's really going on. So she's a little, hence the title, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter, right? So her life is shit, and shit starts happening, and then the wheels fall off, and this is when the story gets good. And there's definitely some great scenes in it, some fun. Like, this is a fun read. Like, I blew through the 4 issues, and like I finished one, I had to read the other one right away. It's definitely got a campy horror, goofy vibe to it, which is great. And I think, I don't know if he wrote any other comics, but if this is his first comic, I think he did a great job, man. It's really good, and I haven't heard anything, so I don't think we're getting any more to this story, which sucks because they didn't wrap up the story at all. So, but who knows? Maybe, he's busy making a Suicide Squad in the pandemic, and maybe he just hasn't gotten around to working on it again. But we'll keep our fingers crossed that we'll get more, because I love this character. I thought it was great.
This book made me nostalgic for hell. I'm nostalgic as hell. I used to love watching those old Fright Night theater type shows where, like, you would have the host and they would introduce you to a bad sci-fi or horror film, and it was more fun. You watched it to see them more than you watched it to see the movies. It also kind of gave me a Elvira feel, and growing up in the era I did, like, if you were like a rocker kid, you definitely had wood for Elvira. So this book kind of brought me back to that a little bit. But I just loved the great use of the classic Universal monsters. They kind of cover them all. You got the Frankenstein, you get the Wolfman, and they're depicted so good. But the main character,
like, the cool, like, old school, like, ads for stuff in it. I love it when they do that. I'm a sucker for those type of things.
The main character, what's her name? Jackie? Man, she is such an asshole. I love her. Like, when she first shows up to do the late night show, she is just, oh man, she's so petulant. She just totally trashes the film in the intro. And everyone's like, well, what the hell did you do? But she elicited a response, and she got more people watching that show than ever before.
Yeah,
so, like,
by being an ass.
So it's accidentally a hit, but as she's leaving and she's still in her makeup, which is such a hot look, by the way. Like, I dig the way the character, especially when she's in the full makeup, the full Count Crowley regalia, it looks so good. But she's on her way to her car, and this guy comes, asks her for help, and he's got a gun, and he asks her to kill him, and then he turns into a werewolf, and you get this really, really kind of funny scene with him on her car and her wrecking, and then the cop the next morning trying to talk to her about what happened, and she doesn't know if she was drunk or whatever, but like, he legit finds like wolf hair and a bullet, and it just builds from there. It's reminiscent a little bit of the movie Fright Night, which I also love, but in a good way, man. It doesn't steal from it. It has similar ideas, and I think, oh man, it just played wonderfully with them. I mean, all the little source materials it used were great nostalgic little things to touch upon, in my opinion.
Yeah, his love for horror definitely shines through on this book. Big time. Yeah.
You got anything you want to say, Goose? You're just gonna sit down there grinning, dancing?
I was a big fan of this. I'm sad to find out that we don't. Oh yeah, a big fan of this.
Oh, he's a big fan of this, and he left. I think he's having lag problems. Like, StreamYard can be hard on smaller computers and if you have bad internet. And but yeah, dude, like, this book is just clever. I mean, there's no other word for it. And also, like Joe was saying, it's got the neat little ads. It's got little winks and nods to, like, Tales from the Crypt and old EC comics in there as well.
Yeah, and it's I just the tone of it, like you say, like, it's subtle, the humor, but it's well done. You know, it isn't silly over the top. It's definitely relatable. Like many of us have been in this situation where we've been self-destructive, especially when we've been in our younger years, and we're in these positions, and it's so relatable. It's humor that is very relatable. You know, like you're just in a bad situation, and sometimes you're so self-destructive, you just make it worse, right? It's just piling shit on top of shit, and it's and, she just happens to luck out, and it works out for her because it makes the show more popular. But yeah, it's definitely relatable, the humor in it.
Okay, I'm back now. Hopefully, doing well with my voice. Sorry about the Wi-Fi, but no, I really enjoyed this a whole lot from the beginning. There was a really downer part in the middle that helped with character development a whole lot, especially when you were finding out why she always thought she was delusional because of her drinking. Which I always wonder. I was wondering throughout, why is she such a fuck up? And then you realize she's not a fuck up. She was just put in a fucked up situation and was dealing with it however she could. And that made me fall in love with the character even more because you like Johnny said, you see her like petulance and her like anger and her just distaste because she did not want to take the job after she was fucking fired again for doing the whole getting drunk on the wine thing and exposing the guy for having the cheap wine. And so like I really enjoyed the character. I really liked how they made the deputy kind of a Barney Fife type character that nobody's taking seriously. Like you said, when she drove off in the field from him, or all the times like she just walks away and he doesn't do anything because he was probably a loser in school from what I was gathering on it. The way that they did the monsters, I was really thinking they were going to go with the taller kind of monster being a Frankenstein type deal. But when they went more towards like Haitian voodoo mummy type stuff, I thought that was really interesting as well. I really liked the old guy that she goes and sees who, he's being super sexist towards her, and she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna steal your fucking book and figure this out on my own. I don't need to be initiated or accepted into your stupid little monster hunter group. And then towards the end she comes back and she's like, well, let's fucking do this. I really thought that this was really funny. I made a couple of comparisons myself between her, the Svengoolie type character, as well as Elvira, who I didn't grow up in your era, Johnny. She was a little bit older, but everybody still had wood for Elvira. Like even now, she's like the Dolly Parton of goth kids. Because like I don't know if y'all saw Dolly Parton the other day at 75 years old, dressed up like her Playboy bunny cover.
Hell yeah.
You know how you get to be 75 and that fucking hot? You're a good person. You mind your own goddamn business. That is why Dolly Parton and Elvira are both well into their 70s and still on my get it list. Like they are eternally in the And I don't mean how they used to look. I mean now. And so I was drawing those comparisons of Elvira with our main character. And I'm in agreement with you. We keep on picking books with these these attractive ass cartoon characters. And I absolutely love it. She was great. I thought in the full makeup, like you said, she was super hot. I thought she was really funny, especially with how like mean and negative she is about fucking everything. Like she didn't want to take the goddamn job, and then she turns it into a hit. And you really get to see like how her personality got her that Cleveland job in the beginning, which fucking destroyed her life. Like that whole scene made me so mad. I was just sitting there like, you fucking bastard, just I wanted to strangle that cocksucker. But yeah, I felt really good about this book. I liked it a whole lot.
Yeah, like you guys brought up, I love the design of her. She's got, and it's set in like I think the late 70s, early 80s. If you go by like by the surroundings, the phones, the answering machine, her look, the way she dresses, for the character, she's got that studded belt, and she's definitely got that punk rock vibe to her outfit, which is super awesome. And I think it's set in the perfect time. No cell phones, and I think a lot of horror comics set a lot of stuff up in the 80s or 70s, so you have that disconnect, right? You don't have the social media where everyone's connected. Like you said, she's by herself. She doesn't have anything to distract her, right? She's more in her own head without being distracted by outside sources, which is you hit home more with the personal stories that way, where you can dig in and tell someone's with flashbacks, or like you said, and it really hits home a lot more than, like, I still haven't seen a book. Well, I guess there's a few that came out recently where they kind of integrate social media into the story, like House on the Lake. There's a few of them there that are bringing it in, but it isn't as effective, I find. Like, the best time, all the best reads I find the horror are usually set in like 80s setting, 70s setting. It lends itself really well to the horror genre.
The art is just so good in this book too. Like, one of my favorite parts is when, and it's not even really because anything happens, but when she drives into that cul-de-sac and sneaks up into that creepy house, and just how just well that's rendered. And it's not even like one of the big scary scenes in the book, but I just really, really liked the atmosphere that is just everywhere in this book. It is probably one of the best drawn horror books I've seen in a long time. Definitely.
Yeah. Kettner is super solid. Like, there isn't a single panel in this that isn't that, you look at it and you're like, that's not good. Like, every panel is super well drawn. The layouts are great. The movement, he's great. He does a great job with the emotion. Like, and he definitely finds the vibe. The tone fits the story perfectly. There's, like you say, it's a solid book all around. Story, art. I mean, the covers are great on this too. Like, I don't have all the covers here out, but love all the covers for this. Definitely has that kind of 70s horror poster vibes to it, 60s, 70s style.
I saw a bunch that actually did look like old EC Vault of Terror type covers with like the little circle with the
with the characters on the side. Yeah, it's awesome. There's a few.
I love when they do those. Yeah, those are so groovy.
Yeah. I didn't mention it earlier, but I really like how they did the hand of the monster after she cuts it off, and it's running around and like doing malicious shit, kind of like the hand from fucking the Addams Family. I really thought that was a kind of a neat little like nod, the way that its fingers are curling and just crawling across, and he pulled the gun out and destroyed the car. It was I really liked that. It reminded me of some old horror, like you said, especially I didn't realize it was set in like this late 70s, early 80s. As I dove into it, now that you're mentioning, I didn't see any like new technology. And also with the break-in scene, I thought it was super funny when she's trying to like tap on the window to get it to come up, and she just shatters the motherfucker with the gun. Oh, dude, I feel like her life's a wreck, and it's not going well for her. And so when you see little scenes like that, and like it just made me laugh, because it's one thing after the other. She gets attacked by a werewolf. She finds out that the old Count Crowley was a fucking monster hunter that was
monster hunter. Yeah.
Oh man, and it's just like it just snowballs, and she just rolls with the punches the whole time. And I really thought she was a badass character throughout the whole book.
Yeah, she does. She rolls with it, and she learns to just stomp mad assholes like all the way through it. Like, and I like that. Like, yeah, like we kind of touched on, there are some emotional parts to it, but she gets through them, and it's done in a pretty cute way, I think, tackling the subject matter that it has. Because alcoholism is a motherfucker, but I think that this book handled it with diplomacy while not making it preachy about it. You know what I mean? I think that it made its point well, and moved on. You know what I mean?
David,
with the character.
I know the writer himself has dealt with addiction problems, so I think it definitely reflects in the writing of this story, which is probably why it was handled so well, because he's dealt with it and he's been sober. I can't remember. I read it somewhere for how many years, but he's been sober for I think like 10 years now or something. So, I mean, I'm sure it was definitely, that part of the story is definitely personal to him, which, like you say, it's well done. And
amen to that. The Hand from Waxworks Part 2 is hilarious. If you guys never seen that movie, like there's a really funny living hand that has a fight with a girl, and there's a hammer and a garbage disposal involved. Really funny scene. Which kind of reminds me
Evil Dead also. There's a hand in Evil Dead, like there's so many great hand scenes throughout all these all the years of horror, right?
Oh, I love when it's still attached to him though, and he's dragging himself down the hallway with it. Like, yeah, I can't believe Bruce Campbell did that. He's such a ham, but like, dude, yeah. I would have to say that out of the three we've mentioned, yeah, Evil Dead would probably have to actually be the best, as much as I love Waxworks 2.
Yeah.
But talking about like doing a film for this, I would actually really like to see Don Coscarelli, the director of Phantasm. He also made Bubba Hotep, starring Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
I would like to see him do a movie like about this in the style of Bubba Hotep, because this comic kind of gave me the feels of that film as well. And if you ain't ever seen a movie about old Elvis and Black JFK fighting a mummy in an old folks' home, you don't know what you're missing. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell plays Elvis. It's fucking awesome. It's a funny movie.
Ozzie Davis is JFK. Yeah, dude, the cast is killer.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, people, if you haven't seen it, you should go out. Like, if you like that campy B-movie, funny B-movie stuff, horror stuff, it definitely fits the bill, man. It definitely scratches that itch.
I got Bubba Hotep in a 2-pack. It was Bubba Hotep and Mars Attacks. I can't even remember where I bought the movie at. But it was such a good little collection. It's actually been probably 10, maybe even 12 years since I've seen it, and I'm gonna have to go through and try and dig that DVD out, because I completely forgot about that movie. It's fucking hilarious.
I like when Ozzy shows up in his wheelchair and he's like, "Good, we could use the wheels." That's just such a funny ass line when they're gonna fight the mummy at the end. Like, oh, sweet, you brought the wheels. I'm just like, dude, that's hilarious, man. And that's this book's full of lines like that too. I mean, that's why it reminded me so much of it. And I love Coscarelli. I think he could make a killer film based off of this comic. And yeah, it's just a good time. Like, especially if you're nostalgic for the things we mentioned, like Elvira, Tales from the Crypt, classic Fright Night Theater shows. Like, this has it all. I mean, it's
anyone who's a fan of Sven Gulli would probably dig this book too, man. Like, it's got a little bit of everything for everyone. I feel.
I actually like that we mentioned Svengoolie, because as soon as y'all said that, I realized I had just read those words, Svengoolie. They actually did a review for Exorcisms Volume 2 that says the Harris sisters are definitely the double date from hell, actually to and from, with side trips to earthbound demonic visitation sites, a great blend of horror and comedy. That was just going back to how great Exorcisters is and Svengoolie, and so, you got to pick up Count Crowley. It was fucking incredible. I'm glad I got to read it.
So Sven Gulli does reviews for comics sometimes?
I guess so. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more, because I wasn't sure.
That's cool.
I remember, because I just looked over and seen it, and I was just like, oh, well, fuck. I got to bring that up now.
He probably likes hot goth business girls too, man. It's a good look. It should actually be a thing.
Who doesn't? Yeah. Like, I love me some goth girls. Call me MC Lars. What's up?
Yeah, I think we talked about some really, really good, funny stuff right here, man. Like, and some great reads too. I really hope we inspired some of you guys to check these out, especially Count Crowley, because man, it would be great to get more of it, because it is left wide open. Like, it actually kind of ends when it could be getting good, like a lot of things do.
Yeah, right as it reveals, right? The big reveal at the end where she's about to take over the mantle, and that would be like kind of the next arc, right? So it's too bad we haven't gotten anything yet. Who knows? It might still be in the works. Everyone should hit up Dark Horse and tell on Twitter and be like, we want more Count Crowley, and have them put it out, man. And I've been realizing a lot of my favorite books now that have been coming out have been Dark Horse books. I didn't realize this. I was such a fan of Dark Horse comics.
I think losing all those commercial properties lit a fire under their ass, and they're actually doing good IPs again.
Yeah, because Jenny Zero, that's a Dark Horse book. Orphan and the Five Beasts, I love. That was another Dark Horse book. The Black Hammer universe, I love. That's Dark Horse. What else has been Dark Horse? I don't know. There's a which one? Death Orb?
Death Orb?
I'm talking about more recent stuff that I've read though.
Oh, well, no,
Like,
they're still dropping really good Hellboy shit. Like I just recently quit buying comics to get ready for that move, but the new Hellboy and also Young Hellboy were both really, really enjoyable series. They've been doing some Hellboy one shots, and I'm a huge Hellboy fan, and so when they come out, I pick them up, and I have not read a bad one yet. They're still pushing them out. I love it.
Yeah, I think Mignola just said that like the big story arc's over. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he's done with it. But I think he's gonna let other people, if they want to, kind of do little things here and there with the BPRD stuff.
Lady Baltimore just came out too with that's almost wrapping up. I think it's 3 or 4 issues in now. That's been pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, I've been digging their stuff lately.
I think didn't Resident Alien just finish up their final arc as well?
Oh man, did you guys watch the TV show for that? That was such a damn good TV show. Like a hell of a first season, man. I cannot recommend.
Okay, Spanky got me into Resident Alien. He sent me the first arc for Christmas last year, and when we were talking about it after I read it, he was like, "Yeah, don't watch the show." He didn't like it, and so I didn't check it out. But now I guess I'm gonna have to check it out because is that Alan Tudyk that plays?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, then I'll
he's
definitely
good.
have to check that out.
Because he plays a great. What's it in Doom Patrol? What's the name of the villain in Doom Patrol?
Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody. Yeah, he does a great job as Mr. Nobody. Like, great job. Like, I loved him in Doom Patrol. It was can't say enough good things about his character in that.
He's great in everything. I've been a huge fan ever since seeing him in Knight's Tale. Him punching Paul Bettany all the time. Like. I'll phone you. Tudyk said nutsack, man.
That's where I first remember him from, and I remember that movie so well because my friend's mom was taking us to the movies to go and see Shrek, and I guess she wanted to go and see Heath Ledger, and she was like, "Look, Shrek's PG." She said, "But this one's PG-13." She said, "Y'all want to be big boys or what?" I think we were like 6, and we were like, "Yeah, yeah." And then I remember going to see it, and it was such a badass movie. But I am sad I never got to see Shrek in theaters because that's another badass movie.
Waffles. Get out of my swamp, donkey.
So we had the Shirtless Bear Hunter. Was that Image?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was Image.
So we had 2 Dark Horse books and 2 Image books.
What, 3? Wasn't Cowboy Viking Ninja Image as well?
Image, yeah.
So Exosisters is Image also. So we had
3. Oh, we had 5 books. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Some good books, some great books, hilarious. But we got through those really quickly. But I think it's some really, really good content and some really funny books. I had a good time talking about these.
Yeah,
man. I mean, if people, if you guys have any recs, man, hit us up on Twitter and give us your recommendations. I love these kind of books. So, I mean, anyone has any good books that like Shirtless Bear Hunter or Jenny Zero or Count Crowley style stuff, man, just throw the recs at me, man, because I love that stuff. I eat it up. That's my jam. Those books are my jam, man.
Always looking for some more funny stuff. Like I almost wanted to do Metal Shark Bro on here as well, but I didn't want to crowd the show with too many books. But that would have been another perfect little slot for this.
Well, there was the Metal Shark Bro was really good, but one of the spinoffs, Nunjas, was it Nunjas?
Ninja Nuns.
Ninja Nuns, yeah. Oh, dude, no, that you want to talk about funny? That was just a one shot. And if y'all didn't, it sounds like both y'all read that. There's some puns in there that are so on par.
Kickstarter, so of course I've read it. Bozo.
There's a lot of really funny things that kind of tie in with the same type of puns and stuff and the same type of humor as Shirtless. There's one in particular that I always think of where they're at the door and the guy's like, "What do you want?" And she says, "None ya business," while kicking the shit out of him. That is such a funny line. Like that gave me the same type of humor and laughs that I got from Shirtless Bear-Fighter. That was a good book. I think you can still pick up the single of that from Scout because I got it not too long ago, and it's so good, so good. If you haven't read that one either, I would definitely check it out.
And like Barbaric's only been only been one issue, but that definitely has a potential to be a blast so far, just from the one issue.
I have issue 2 if you want it. Like I'll
Of what?
after the show.
Barbaric?
Yeah.
I'll wait till I get it, man.
No, it's a real PDF. It was given to me by them. It's
by them, yeah. It's a review copy, yeah. But I don't know.
You don't like them low reses?
Oh, it doesn't bother me, but you know, I ordered it. It's on my pull, so I'd rather just read it when it's on my pull.
Is Barbaric the type of humor that I was expecting from Sam and his talking gun? Because I wasn't like.
No, I was.
I thought that book was going to be a little bit different than it was. Kind of like the gun from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was still okay. It just wasn't what I was expecting.
Barbaric has some really funny parts to it, mostly the axe, but otherwise it's pretty gnarly dark fantasy. At least the first issue was.
Oh yeah, it's got a good balance.
I'm a huge fan of like Conan and sword and sorcery type shit. So I'm
you'll dig this because there's a witch character and how he's cursed, right? So some witches curse him, and this is why he's has to help people or punish people that have done wrong, right? Like, and the axe judges, like, he's like, can I kill them? And the axe is the one that can tell him if their sins are worth punishing by death or not. So he has like these interactions with the axe anyway, and it's pretty funny. Then as he punishes these people, the axe just gets off on it because he loves the blood, right? He wants more. It's great. I mean, that first issue was a freaking hoot, man. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Seeley seems to be on fire at Vault. He seems to be having a lot of fun with all the stuff he's working on over there.
That's a Vault book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, you didn't. All you had to do was say that, and I'd have been sold. I'm a big fan of most of the stuff that I've read from Vault. They've been pushing out some really, really good books. I still need to read The Plot. That is one that's been on my list. I have not read it yet, but I'm definitely going to be picking it up ASAP.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny's a big fan of The Plot or Autumn. What's the other one? The one with the leaves. Usually, you're like
the Leafy Bug, the Gilmore Girls versus the Leafy Bug, the Autumnal. Yeah.
Yeah, those are books Johnny doesn't like talking about. He doesn't find they move fast enough.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, Wasted Space by Michael Morrissey could have actually almost been on this show with its humor. That's actually it's not funny, but it's got some really kind of dark, really funny parts to it, in my opinion. And
yeah, you've brought it up a few times. That's another Vault book, right?
Yeah, that's his first one that they did. After that, they signed him to his big contract he has with them now, and that's why he did like Mall, which was also really fun. Like, I like almost everything that he's done at Vault. It's just the plot didn't seem to have one.
And that concludes our humor episode.
Right. I'm getting so many hate comments probably because everybody seems to love that book. But yeah, this was another killer episode of the Pink Buzz. We're not sure what we're going to be doing for Buzz Bites. We were throwing around maybe Soul Cinema ideas because Goose was talking about his love for Soul Cinema like I have. We might be doing another music one. I kind of want to do another music one for the next one. And we don't know what we're doing next week for this show either, but we'll let you know on Twitter when we figure it out. But this is Pink Buzz, brought to you by Graphic Vandalism. Don't stop reading, don't stop watching awesome movies, and don't stop listening to excellent music. And don't stop looking at the crotch on Goose's naked, bearless shirt fighter. Bearless shirt fighter. Okay, and I can't talk anymore. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night, everyone. Have a great week of reading.
Yeah.